Hey everybody, I'm Katie Papillo. I am the founder of the Dryden Experiment and the owner of Dryden House Publishing, and we are here for our weekly hangout. With me on the phone right now, or on the video, or on the whatever we're on here, is Eugene Kelly III. Hi, Eugene.
Hey.
And we're hoping that Kitty Sarkozy will join us this evening. Also, this is likely to be a pretty short broadcast today. Our chief editor, Tracy Vincent, is unavailable this evening, and without Tracy here, I have no idea what's actually going on. And that will be painfully obvious over the next few minutes. So let me just talk just a little bit about what the Dryden Experiment is and why it is that we do what we do. I know that those of you who watch every week will know this part. Just skip ahead. It takes 2.5 minutes. So I had this idea that I wanted to be able to create and write in a very large environment, a Star Wars size environment, a Lord of the Rings size environment. But those are very difficult and time consuming to build, and they're very hard to get attention to once you've actually got them built. So what I did, I built the basis of a science fiction universe. I wrote faster than light travel rules and some history and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I put it all under the Creative Commons BOISA 4.0 license. And that license says that anybody else is free to come in and use it. They don't have to pay me for it. But they do have to put the materials that they create under the same license. So everybody who creates something in that science fiction universe expands the science fiction universe. And we have had enormous success. That science fiction universe has 4 novels in it, I want to say, 4 or 5 novels in it now. Novels in it, and it has a role-playing game that's in it, and it has a tabletop card game that's in it, and it's just really been very successful. And then now we've started to explore other genres. We've started exploring horror. We have a book that's in a post-apocalypse genre by Laura Conrad, which is a really enjoyable book. The only item so far in our post-apocalyptic universe is that one book, but we hope to expand that universe eventually. We're also looking at fantasy universes. Nick Mall, who's a game designer in Ballarat, Australia, really wants to build a superhero universe, which means we're probably going to build a superhero universe. And we're just having a whole lot of fun. We get together once a week. We're extremely distributed. We have folks in Australia, we have folks in England, we have folks all over the United States. We did have an artist in Korea, but he's moved back to LA. So we're just all around the world. And just once a week, we sit down on YouTube with anybody that cares to drop in and visit with us, and just kind of talk about where we are and what's going on. And like I said, this evening is very difficult for me because Tracy, who does know what's going on, is not here. But Eugene is here with us. Eugene has participated in several projects. Hopefully Kitty Sarkozy is going to stop in a few minutes. She's one of our authors out of Atlanta, and Kitty's really fantastic. Eugene, well, let me say one other thing. So what I did was after the science fiction universe was getting fairly big and fairly popular, I started a small publishing company called Dryden House Publishing, and we service exclusively people working in the sci-fi universes. So no matter what it is you're working on or where it is you're going, Dryden House can help you get it developed and built and get to cover art for it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So very exciting. Okay, so going back to Eugene. Eugene, you want to just introduce yourself real briefly and talk about your relationship with Dryden?
Sure. Well, I started working on Dryden sometime last year. My first project with them was the way I came across them was through several videos on YouTube, which if you're interested in Dryden, I highly recommend you watch them. They're really well done. They really explain what the group is like. So I watched them and I got in contact with Joel. The first project I did with them was Rise of the European, which was a novel. It was a series. It was just one story. It was stories told from different points of view. And then I see it from the point of view of the European, the evil alien. And then I've also done a few shorts, a few other short stories. Well, there's one that's in, that came out a while ago in a horror compilation called Dryden Nightmares. I actually created the universe itself. It's a universe within Dryden, which is set aside specifically for horror stories. I mean, horror stories of all kind. You can see the description of what it's about on the Dryden Nightmares Facebook page. I've got a story for that, and then coming up, I've got another story which is going to be put into Dryden, the next version of Dryden Nightmares, next volume. I'm working on that. I'm working on a novel called Empire of the Carnivores, and also I'm working with another author by the name of Dan Hunt on how to on setting up the background for the for a planet that exists in the Dryden sci-fi universe.
Right on. Very good. Okay. So normally what happens when we get together is we get together and we sort of talk through the projects that are coming. And Dan Hunt, one of our regular authors, or one of our authors, is here pretty regularly. And we have a couple of guest authors, and we have Tracy to hold this all together. And we don't have those this evening. So what I'm going to do is just kind of do an overview, sort of briefly, just to help keep people oriented. Our art director is Gavin Revitt. He lives in Sheffield, England, where it is currently coming up on 3 o'clock in the morning. And he doesn't, I guess coming up on 2 o'clock in the morning, he doesn't make it to this meeting. So we try to go ahead and make sure that we cover all the topics so that Gavin can come back and watch it. We meet with him fairly regularly, but it's nice to do a touch base. So I think the big thing that's going on, there are a couple of big things going on right now. The Dryden Experiment website, drydenexperiment.com, has had some major upgrades recently and is a lot more informative and a lot more useful. And so people who have stopped by trying to learn more about Dryden and been unsuccessful, I suggest you try again, because we've added a whole lot more content and things are looking a lot better out there. So do stop by Dryden Experiment. Who's that? Are you there, Kitty? There's Kitty.
Hey.
Kitty, you promised you'd be in your pajamas.
I am in my pajamas.
Oh, all right. I just can't see enough of your pajamas to make it exciting.
Hold on, let me see what I can give you here.
Wait. This is a family-oriented television.
Hey, this is a family-oriented pajamas, but it's not showing them. Can you see anything?
No, you've gone dark.
That sucks.
But that's just Google censoring us for us. That's very nice of them and not at all totalitarian and terrifying.
Okay.
Well, joining us now, Kitty Sarkozy. Kitty, we've just sort of finished introductions, and we're going to start talking about projects going on in Dryden. You want to take a minute and sort of introduce yourself and let folks know you are not moving on video, but we can hear you fine.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yep, you sound great.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Kitty Sarkozy. I'm a science fiction, fantasy, horror, other things writer. I live in the Atlanta area. I have a homestead sort of thing, or else I might be a pet hoarder. I haven't figured out which of those it is. For Dryden House, I've written a story for Rise of the European, and I've written 2 stories for Dryden Nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
I have a short story collection on Amazon. I have a novel in the works that's going to be done soon if I can keep making myself work on it. And that's about it.
Well, and you're participating in the second Nightmares collection, right?
I am participating in the second Nightmares collection. I have some ideas. I haven't decided where I'm going with them yet.
Right on.
When's the due date for that? September?
July?
July! See, that's a completely different month. Let me write this down in the book. July. That's not this one. Okay, this one. What day in July?
Just in July.
Any day in July?
Any day in July will do.
Okay, so that would be the 31st.
Well, okay, now you know me, and what's going to happen is it's going to come to the 10th of July, and I'm going to go, I'm not worried about your story, I'm just checking in. And then it's going to be the 11th of July and go, I know on the 10th you said that you were almost there, but I just thought I'd see how close that actually is. And then on the 12th, I'll send you a message. So, be aware that my insecurities last about a third of a way through a month.
How about I put down the deadline as Friday, July the 8th?
Wonderful, thank you. That's excellent. And Eugene, I believe you're working on a story.
Yes, it's actually going to be. I haven't definitively, but as you guys are talking, I think it's going to be an introduction to the universe that I'm going to be setting up in Empire of the Carnivores. So it's going to be like a little preview of that.
All right. All right. So, and then Kitty and Tracy and I are engaged in a conversation because Kitty wrote a short story that really, really got me excited. We were having a conversation earlier today, Tracy and I, about, different people are attracted to different stories and which one is your favorite. And I think I've pretty much come to the conclusion that the short story that Kitty wrote for the first Nightmares collection, one of them, is about my favorite horror short story of all time. It's a little hard to describe, but it's brilliantly written and it's intensely scary. And we have decided that we're submitting that to 2016 Bram Stoker, which is the most prestigious. I mean, that's the top of the pile. What happens is that they take thousands and thousands of submissions in, and then they have a sort of an official story list that are the ones that they're actually reviewing for a win. And we feel like that Kitty's story belongs on the reader list. It should at least make it past the first round and get on the judges list. And then, of course, if we won a prize, that would be astounding, but intensely remote possibility. But so Kitty, and I guess you weren't actually part of the conversation today, Kitty, but Kitty and Tracy and I are working on how to get that submission done. You actually have to do the submission, Kitty. We can't do it.
Right.
But then what we can do is come along behind and promote it once you do. So you'll submit it and list the author or list the publishing house as Dryden House, and then we'll come along and do advertising about this is the story that we have in the Bram Stoker competition this year. So we'll support it once you get it submitted. So very, very exciting. How do you feel about that, Kitty?
I feel really excited about it. This is a pretty big deal. We at Dryden House, I mean, we are about opportunities and turning unpublished authors into published authors and giving artists who don't have a good portfolio a good portfolio. And we really, really enjoy that, and we really, really enjoy, I don't know if you know, but both Gavin and Tracy now have independent work outside of the Dryden experiment. That's awesome.
Yeah, Gavin is doing book covers on commission, and Tracy is doing editing and other book work on commission outside of Dryden. And so when we see an opportunity to really kind of take somebody past us, we're the great starting gate, but when we see a chance to really grow somebody, we like to capitalize on it, and that story just bugs me. And it comes back to me. Well, and I know, other people like other stories, other people, to each their own, and so on and so forth, but I've read thousands and thousands of short stories. Well, I don't know thousands and thousands, but I bet I've read 1,000 short stories. And that is my favorite horror short story ever. So we're gonna get behind it and see where it goes.
Yay!
Yay! Very exciting. Please let me know when you make that submission so that we can follow up and be ready to support it.
Okay, you sent me the thing, and I actually just got home a little while ago and took a shower. So let me go find that, and I'll even go look at it in the now-ish.
Okay. There's just a list of bullets that you'll see on that page that are things that they need to have, and I tried to give you all of them.
Okay.
If you'd like a copy of the actual as-published version of the script, I think it's probably the same as the version you have, but if you felt like there was a chance of inconsistency, let me know, and I'll cut you out the version that we actually published, and we'll make sure and send them exactly what we have in print. So, all right. So an exciting process for Kitty.
Yay!
Then the other thing that we have going on that we're just having a blast with, this is really turning out to be the most exciting project. I just happen to be friends with Charlie Martin, who is a race car driver in Europe. She competes in the European Hill Climb Championship, and back in February she put out a post that she was looking for sponsors for the 2016 season. I decided this would be a good idea. So we're sponsoring a race car in the European Hill Climb Championship. Her website is gocharliehillclimb.com. I'm not going to spell that. gocharliehillclimb.com. You can Google her. She has a Facebook presence, and then we have a whole bunch of links to her. So if you're on the Dryden Author and Otters page or other Dryden pages, you'll find links to her. Well, we decided, though, that as exciting as it was to have our name on a race car in the French Alps, it probably wasn't going to draw us a whole lot of business in a direct way. So I approached Kat Haywood, who is an artist in Brisbane, Australia, and asked her if she would like to do a graphic novel of this Charlie X, who is in the science fiction universe, but is also a race car driver doing a type of racing that looks very much like uphill race climb. And that is being hosted at motecon.com. You can find it if you just go to Motecon, which is Motecon's front page. There's a link up there that says Charlie X, and week 1 went up, not this last weekend, but the weekend before, and week 2 is going up tomorrow or Monday, sort of depending on Russell's schedule. Written by Kat Haywood, drawn by Kat Haywood, written by Kat and I, and is the story of the fictional race car driver based on Charlie Martin. So we're just having a blast. That's a lot of fun. And Charlie placed second in her division last week, or in the first weekend of racing, and she won one of the practice rounds today, and I think placed second in the other one, and then we'll find out tomorrow how she does in the actual for the win race. So she's off to a really great start. It's a Formula Renault, so it's a little flat car with a big wing on it and a little helmet sticking out from the glass. It's really, really exciting. And we had talked before this started about sort of mirroring Charlie's experience to Charlie's ex's experience. We decided it wasn't really practical, and so we're doing it kind of loosey-goosey. Well, Charlie is transgender, and she met the Prime Minister of England last week at an event at number 10 Downing Street. So
That's so awesome.
This was too much for us to pass up, so the week 4 of Charlie X is being rewritten right now so that she can meet the president of TerraCore from Earth.
Awesome.
And we can parallel Charlie and Charlie's lives. I have this ambition that by the end of the season or by next season, we'll get a little animator tool and we'll actually have Charlie Martin and Charlie X interview each other on YouTube. I know the tool that I would like to use, but it's many, many hundreds of dollars, so I need to find someone who has a copy that I can rip off or borrow for the two of them to do that interview. So, very exciting stuff. This is the part of the conversation where I stop and ask Tracy if I've missed anything, and now there's just a hollow in my life. So I'm going to kind of move into our schedule for the next, for the rest of 2016. We're mapped all the way out, and then we'll just kind of open it up and have a little bit of loose chat. I'm going to go just very quickly through the schedule. Alders 3, which is the third part of the Alders World Series and completes the series, will come out on the 26th of this month. That's
Yay!
Yay! Probably early in 2017, we will release a full combined and in-print version of that book, which will be a lot of fun. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave Part 1 free forever, and then Part 2 and 3 available for purchase, so you can sort of sample it. It's available on Smashwords for free. We're working to get Amazon to make it free, but Amazon is a bunch of giant assholes, and that's being difficult. And I say that with the deepest of affection and sincerity. So it's really exciting to have 3 done. I kind of ranted about it last week, so I won't rant again. 3 Alder's World, writing Alder's World and finishing Alder's World finished as sort of an era for me as an author. That's the novel I've been trying to write. So I feel really, really great about it. And if you want to see more, go to last week's Hangout where I talked about it for like 30 minutes. Eugene was there. He can testify it was horrible. Next month, well, you have this idea in your head, I can be a writer, I can be successful as a writer, I know I can do this. And that's the second full-length novel, and then I've written maybe 3 or 4 novellas and lots of short stories. I published 30-some short stories and wrote more that were never published. And that's the story where I finally went, okay, I can do this. Was Alder's World. Okay, so then the next month we're coming out with an expansion to our role-playing game. The role-playing game is called Big Damn Dryden. It's by Owlman Press out of Ballarat, Australia. We will be releasing an expansion to it on June 30th that is called Patrons and Vassals. It has vehicle rules. It has new societies on the fringe of the Dryden universe. I think you would find them interesting, Eugene, some of the cultures that are living out there on the fringes. And it has the rules for cybernetic space whales and how to play them as player characters in the game. So we all need cybernetic space whales, don't we? Then on July 28th, Charlie X, the role-playing expansion to Dryden role-playing game, Big Damn Dryden, comes out. So you will be able to play Charlie and the other characters from the role-playing or from the graphic novel as characters in the Dryden universe. They're being created as NPCs so that they are playable. So that's really exciting. And then in August we have something called something. Good heavens! Oh, that's no, that's not Project Mercury. That is Then in August the expansion deck for the Dryden Space Battles, the card game, the desktop card game, will come out, and it will be flying space whales as characters, or as a battle fleet that you can fly in Dryden Space Battles. That art has already been completed by Charlotte Garnier, who is the person who invented the space whales in the first place, so we were really excited to have her back to work on the space whales some more, and that art is complete and in-house. She also did the cover of Patrons and Vassals. You'll see the cover of Patrons and Vassals floating around here in the near future, so that's very exciting. Then in September, the Gory Details. Many months ago, or many moons ago, I should say, I wrote a series of horror articles about what would happen in the real world if you did the things that they do in horror movies. I wrote it for Froggy Bottom Press. They will be being released. All 50 of those articles are actually usable still. And we will release all 50 in a bound set in September. So look forward to lots of gratuitous gore and humor. Those were intended to be very funny, so they are gross out humor, sort of if Shaun of the Dead were a news article. And that's in August, or in September on the 15th, and then Project Mercury, which is a sort of a module expansion. It's a playable expansion rather than a rules expansion of Big Damn Dryden comes out in September. And then in October, one for you two, the second round of Dryden Nightmares, the second Dryden Nightmares book will come out on the 27th. And then in November, Charlie X, the graphic novel. Once we complete the webcomic, we'll transfer it over and publish it as a paper-bound, or as a glue-bound paperback in full color. And that will become available on November the 10th, and that completes the publishing year for Dryden. So, wowzer.
That's a lot of stuff. You're
Yeah.
kind of rocking over there.
Yeah. Well, you know, when Tracy and Gavin and I sat down and sort of did a business plan for last year, for 2015, we didn't feel like we wanted to promote a whole lot because we didn't have a big catalog. And,
Right.
you know, we wanted to really emphasize getting material into market and how much can we do and blah, 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 blah. And now our catalog is really pretty big, and we're really pretty satisfied with it and ready to start
Right.
promoting it. But our pipeline is completely full into 2017. There are 4 or 5 projects out there already on the 2017 list. We just pushed them out of 2016 because we weren't going to get to them.
Wow.
So we will continue to do a new product a month, at least into the middle of next year.
That's amazing.
It's really amazing and really, really satisfying. And also very, very tiring. But we're starting to change gears, although I don't have the list. We are putting something on sale every month. So
Nice.
if you see a release date that's on the 30th, well, on the 15th for that week, from the 15th to the 23rd or whatever, we will have had something on sale or listed for free or whatever. And we actually have an advertising budget now. It's
Nice.
it exists, and Tracy is part of that community that does blog tours and hosts review parties and so on and so forth, and she has been vested with the power to spend that advertising budget. So
Nice.
what we hope to do over the course of the next 18 months or so is use the catalog that we now have to talk about how cool we are in advertising, right? So to get into some advertising and talk up how cool we are and be able to back it up. You know, we have a role-playing game, we have a tabletop game, we have this many books, we have a graphic novel, we're sponsoring a race car driver, blah, 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 blah. And we now look cool enough that when we put that advertising out there, we'll attract people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
That's super awesome.
So that is all of the sort of official material. I mean, we can talk forever about what's going on in different projects, what's interesting to people, but I just kind of wanted to open it up to the two of you. I tend to dominate the conversation even when Tracy is here to beat me back with the stick, and I wanted to avoid that. Do you want to talk about the planets where Charlie X is going to race? Do you want to talk about the projects that you're working on? Do you want to talk about anything in the whole world? I suppose if it ends up just being a personal conversation, we'll stop the broadcast and just chat. But
All right.
what would you guys like to talk about?
Talk about my pajamas with Hello Kitty on them.
The Hello Kitty pajamas. That's awesome.
Eating a donut and it says "Love at First Bite."
Aw, that was a very bad movie.
Oh, with what's it that Tim? No, what's his name? The mask guy. Jim Carrey. That's it.
Maybe.
That was a pretty messed up movie.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to throw out one piece because it entertained me when I mentioned it a second ago, and then I'm going to turn this off and we can just hang out and chat for a little bit. Charlie X is headed to Europa, which both of you will recognize from Rise of the Europan. Kitty and Dean both wrote stories for the Rise of the Europan. This will be in 2500, though, 2503, so almost 200 years before your story takes place. The Liquid Fire Racers go to Europa every year. And the interesting thing about the racetrack on Europa is that they actually start at Europa Deep, which was invented by Don Van Osdol. There's a city all the way down on the ocean at the bottom of Europa. And there is a hole bored through the ice all the way up to the surface. So the racers, rather than racing up the side of a mountain, charge up through the ice. The problem is that those cars get so hot that they set the course underneath them on fire. And there's a real danger in the Europa race that if you're not in the lead, you're going to get frozen into the course and have to be dug out later. So that is the week that we are working on right now. Is Charlie and the Racers in the Ice. Of course, that's all been distracted because now they have to meet the Prime Minister too. But that's what Kat and I are working on right now, and I'm really excited about it and interested to see how she draws it. So, all right. Well, if neither of you have other questions, comments, Dryden-related goodies, I'm going to go ahead and terminate this broadcast. So we've just kind of given a heads up to Gavin or anybody else that's watching about what's coming, and then we can hang around and chat as long as you like.
Awesome.
Yay.
Goodbye, people in the universe. I love you.
Bye.
We love you too, kid. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.